obviously my life isn't a mess. Like my freaking, I'm in a different space. I had to move out of my old apartment, and now I'm like squatting at my boyfriend's house until my new apartment is ready and I can move in. And I'm just all over the place, and like my mind just feels really scattered right now. But I just wanted to come like and quickly address something that I think is, I don't know. I don't even know if people have heard this, but when more than 3 people come to me about a thing, then I feel like I'm gonna address it, okay? Okay, so the first thing is, I recognize that everybody does not have $2 or $5. That's totally fine. I have no problem with people saying that they don't wanna subscribe, they don't wanna join the Patreon, they don't wanna join the Substack. I have no problem with that whatsoever. In fact, this summer, I have made more free, publicly accessible content than I have probably since last year, like since the start, like the height of the pandemic. I literally was just counting today, and in the past 6 weeks, I've publicly released 8 videos. Now that's between the For Harriet content and the Kimberly Nicole Foster content, but that's more than a video a week. So I don't even know, what people be trying to, look, if you don't want it, you don't have to. Like, it's really that simple. But also, and this is just me being completely honest, there are things that I will never say in public that I will say behind a paywall. There are things that I will talk about behind a paywall that I will never talk about in public. And that's just because I feel like if you want that kind of access, it makes me feel more comfortable if you have some skin in the game. Like, I want to make a paywall video about my current life as a stay-at-home girlfriend, right? That's something. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm not making no public video about that shit. Hell no, I'm not doing that. And if you don't want to watch that video, fine. Keep your money. Don't care. Okay? Right? And it's so interesting because, I've said that I was going to really take it easy this summer and relax and not work as much. And I've ended up working just as much as I did last summer, but that's because I'm a worker. I love to do this. I like to make videos. Now, they may not be the shit that you want to watch, but as I say all the time, this is not Burger King. This is not Burger King. So if I want to talk about something, I'm going to talk about it. Also, that brings us to the comments under the Britney Spears video that was like, oh, you have so much empathy and compassion for a white woman. Couldn't be me. Yes, the fuck I do. And what? Yes, like I love Black women and love to talk about Black women and the culture and the history and the conditions and go deep into it. But I am also a deeply empathetic person, and let's just keep going. I guess I'll just go back and edit this, even though I hate editing these freaking videos, but it's fine. All right, so let's keep going. I don't know how many times that I can say that I have lots of different interests and I want to make content about lots of different things. And so that is, at this point, what I'm going to do. Sometimes it's going to be a white woman. Sometimes it's going to be a Latino, an Asian woman, or an Indian woman, or a Native American. Like, come on, like, truly. And if you are making the decision to click on the videos and watch, I think that should just be like a base level foundational understanding that at this juncture, Kimberly is going to talk about whatever the fuck she wants to talk about. And that's it. And I will also say that something I have been, really trying to balance and wrestle with is there's only so many hours in the day, and I have so many thoughts, and there's so many different things that I want to talk about that, like, I feel, even though I'm trying to rest and relax, I still somehow feel spread very thin, because now I have both channels, and now I have the Patreon, and I have the paid subscribers, and because I've been making so much public content, I feel like I have been actually neglecting the paid content. I need to get back on that, but these are very trivial content creator problems. It's not a big deal, but it's certainly something that I'm trying to work through at this point, right? But I will say that I have said many times that it is better for me to have this model where there's the Patreon and the Substack or whatever than for me to rely on SpawnCon from big companies, because I want to be able to cuss people out, and I want to be able to say what I want to say, and I want to be able to make the exact kind of content that I want to make. And I feel like if every single video was SpawnCon, which is what it could be, I could live a life where I filmed a video and every single video that I recorded had to be sent to a multinational corporation, and they would have to say, yes, you can say that, or can you take that out, or oh, that was a little, did you fact check that, or whatever. Like, I could live that life. But I see people who live that life and they also get shit. So it's just like, honestly, I'm just gonna do like what I feel is best and what best suits my lifestyle and the way that I make content. And if you want to participate in that, like, you can. And if you don't, you don't have to. Like, it's really that simple. If something like this can happen to Britney, highly privileged white women, then just think about how a black woman person would be treated. I also think that that is something that gets highlighted in the Britney situation in particular, is that, like, Britney has enormous power, and she is a conventionally attractive, blonde, thin white woman. Something that I have certainly been opened up to and learned more about since really diving into the Britney situation, honestly, is the disability rights part of this. And not to go deep into this, but that is why I like pop culture commentary, is you take something that is really easily accessible, that people are talking about and searching for, and then you go deep into it and you do your research and you discuss it with the seriousness and the rigor it deserves. And then that is a pathway to get into all kinds of other really deep, serious shit. Like, that is the premise. Like, that is the foundation of this. And so, yes, I do want to have real conversations with Black, in particular, disability rights activists, because I think that many of us are seeing what has happened to Britney, and how if she didn't have millions of dollars, she would just be stuck in this arrangement for probably the rest of her life. But of course, there are countless people out there, I'm sure they can be counted, but I don't know the exact number, out there who are dealing with similar kinds of issues, who simply don't have the money, don't have the fame, don't have the public outcry, and they are being abused with no way out. So that's something that's definitely interesting to me, right? Off topic, but have you been tanning? If so, the glow is real. Now, I mean, I'm Black, so I wouldn't really call it tanning, but I be outside, okay? Yesterday, I was by the pool for 3 hours. I like to be outside. I like the sun. I am definitely a sun baby. I like to be near the water. That is me. So yes, we are brown, okay? We are brown. All right, let's move on to the crux of the issue. You know, this summer has been so funny because I've just been trying to hang out and have fun and live my best life and be in love and lay out by the pool. And it's been a couple times this summer when I've been dragged into stuff and I've just been like, what are y'all doing? Like, sometimes I am a provocateur, right? And I get into shit and it's like, yes, I earned this dragging, right? Like, I earned this beef, I earned this shit. But recently it's like, girl, I've been chilling. And then people just bring my name up and stuff. And so I'm going to talk about this. I have no desire to name names because, frankly, I have more power than the person who I'm going to talk about. And I don't think that that's a good use of my power. But I wasn't going to talk about it because one person mentioned it on the Patreon. And then I was like, no, this is a specious claim. I'm not going to address it. But then you get a couple more DMs about stuff. And then the person makes follow-up and then posts more comments. And then I subscribed to Julesie's Patreon, and then I was listening to her Patreon podcast, and then it came up again, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll address it and just put it to bed. And I don't go to message boards. I haven't in a year. The last time I went to a message board, I clicked on somebody and they were like, she is ugly. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to come back here. like, I don't need this. People think that I really be on message boards. I truly do not. Literally since like April of last year, I don't go on there. But then that shit just gets into my comments. And so then you can't ignore it. All right. So somebody, this is so silly. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it because there's some other stuff that we can get into here. Somebody recently claimed that I and a couple of other Black women content creators stole their content. Okay, so not only is that untrue, one, I shout people whom I'm inspired by out all the time. I talk about the people who I'm really fucking with, the people who I think are doing new and interesting things, the people who inspire me to like do new things or try new things all the time. I don't have hater vibes like that. I'm really open with people I praise. I was on Kelly Stamps early. I shouted her out on my channel like when she had 100,000 subscribers. I was like, this girl is the shit. Recently I did a newsletter interview with this newsletter called Embedded that I really like, and they were like, which content creators are you into now? And I shouted out Adela Afadi. She's like a young Black British woman, and Ryan Ken, he's on TikTok. Like I do that shit all the time because I love to see people trying new shit and doing new shit. Like I love that. Okay. And I'm also really into Nella Rose right now. She's a big YouTuber, but I just think that what she's doing is interesting. And I say all the time that my just primary overall inspirations with regard to Black feminism are Bell Hooks and Melissa Harris Perry. And, you know, I grew up watching, being obsessed with cable news. So I always wanted to like be a talking head person. So as soon as I got the confidence, and also, you know, when my ex-boyfriend like broke up with me, like I got really into making videos. So I just knew it wasn't true. I was just like, what are you saying? Like, it's not true. But I wanted to know more about why she felt like I stole her content. So I went to her page and I looked at her channel, and then I saw that my first essay style talking straight to camera about Black women's issues videos are older than hers. My first videos where I'm sitting talking to camera, now look, they're bad videos, no production quality, just Kimberly sitting in her living room with the camera up, and it probably wasn't even a camera, it might have been an iPad, just sitting, just talking about Black women shit for 15 minutes or whatever, were posted before hers. So am I now going to say, you got the idea to talk about Black women on YouTube from me? No, of course not. Because that's ridiculous. Of course I would never say that. Would I say, you know, there's right now this huge boom of young Black women posting cultural commentary with that kind of feminist angle. Would I say post under their comments, they stole my content, they stole that from Julesy? No, of course I wouldn't do that. Because that's completely unreasonable. It is not a reasonable claim to make. Because sitting and talking to a camera is a very basic idea. I've said many times that since I was a little kid, like, this is my dream job. It's the best job in the world. I love this job. And so I get that when you are doing this thing that you're pouring your heart into and you're so passionate about, that you can feel very protective over it, right? That you're trying to claim your space and make a life and make a living, and that's really hard. and you want to, you know, like make sure that you get the acknowledgement that you deserve. I am so empathetic to that. But I also think that this current like land grab that we are in makes people delusional. And I say that with no ill will, with no malice, with true, genuine empathy and understanding, that we also just have to be real about stuff, you know? Now, what is true about this person is I think she's really smart and really good on camera. And I wanted to work with her years ago, so I reached out to her because I love to have conversations with brilliant Black women. And I felt like the platform that she was on, she was being underutilized. You know, like I was just like, she deserves more screen time and she will be fun and interesting and like would say something compelling and provocative. So I did reach out then, but the fact of the matter is I didn't have money. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to ask people to work for me for free. So this was before the Zoom, everybody does Zoom and we do it that way era, where I was like, I was gonna have to fly to her, she was gonna have to fly to me, and I didn't have money for that. And I was gonna have to figure out like, what space are we gonna record in? I didn't have money for that. I didn't really have money to pay her, right? Like I was broke, you know, a few years ago. And so it never panned out. But also, you know, I have ADHD. So I have somebody who handles all of the scheduling things and the outreach things and the follow-up things that I'm just really bad at. So it just never came to fruition. But truly, I came to her to do that because of seeing her on another platform, not from watching her YouTube videos like that. And I will, you know, I have to be honest and say that I can't say I've never watched your content. There's no videos that come to mind for me where I was like, yes, like let me take notes and replicate this. It doesn't, but I've watched so much YouTube content over the years from all kinds of people that surely I've watched something. It's just not in the forefront of my mind. And then when I got more resources where I could bring people on to collaborate, and when we were doing all of the Zooms and the Instagram lives and all of that, then by that time she was saying things that I just didn't agree with. And so I just never reached back out, right? So there was no collaboration. But again, that's not ill will. It's just like, we're just not on the same wave right now. Like we're not on the same vibe. And even if I publicly disagree, I know for sure I have not dragged her or said anything crazy. It's just like, we just don't need to collaborate because we just don't have the same politic. All right. So we've established that I'm super not a hater, particularly when it comes to Black women. And this is the thing, right? If you follow me here or on For Harriet, you know that my favorite thing in the world is inviting Black women on and getting into the shit with them and going deep and having thoughtful, rigorous, cited conversations, right? Like kind of academic, kind of pop culture-y, messy conversations with them. Like that is my number one favorite thing. And it's not even that I have to be the star of all of those conversations. In fact, if you really know me, you know that my favorite thing is when I invite a Black woman on and we're getting into it, and the Black woman I'm talking to just goes off. My favorite shit in the world is when I am able to invite somebody onto the For Harriet platform, which is a moderately sized platform, somebody who I feel like does not have the followers or the whatever, the clout or whatever that I feel like they deserve, and then they just go off and say something brilliant. That's my favorite shit. So anybody trying to accuse me of being a hater or stealing or refusing to link, or it's just not the truth. That is not how I operate. It's not how I operate at all. And in addition to that, I be making sure that I can pay people. In fact, right now, I'm trying to figure out a way to, I just came up with this like new concept for Harriet. Like, I want to make sure that like I can have 3 or 4 women at a time, like, like panel. Like, I love that shit. The best ideas come in community and come in collaboration. The most fun content is made when you're inviting somebody who's fucking brilliant on and they just fucking go off. This is what I like to do. Oh shit. Oh my God. That's I feel like another one of my true blue talents is like, I'm a really good talent scout. If you're good on camera, like, let's be good on camera together. For sure. I don't care how big or small the platform is. But again, I want to say, I get it, because content creation is hard. And we are all vying for our slice of the pie. But you can't lay claim to a format or an idea that you didn't originate and then try to throw other Black women under the bus. How I know that these are not, like, this is not real is because she, named me and 2 other Black women. And I'm like, the other Black women, yes, we both, we all have a feminist ethic and a feminist politic. And so sometimes we talk about pop culture and whatever, but we don't even make the same kinds of content, right? Like, we're not even all doing the exact same thing. So you're saying that you originated the kind of content that all the 3 of us do, but we're all doing different stuff? Right? Like, related, right? Like cousins, but not copy paste, like not replicas and reproductions of each other. Okay. And also one of the people, and it's also funny because one of the people that she like said stole her content like has me blocked on Twitter, which is funny. It was like no harm, no harm, no foul. A lot of people have me blocked on Twitter. It's fine. But I still respect her. Okay. People, it's not Julesy. It's not Julesy. I have nothing but respect for Julesy. And y'all are saying a name that I don't even want to repeat, but it's not that person that y'all are saying either. Okay. I think something that we have to grapple with, right, is how the land grab part of this, how the, give me my credit part of this leads us down pathways of thinking that are not productive. And I understand because visibility is the primary pathway to economic stability if you make content, right? So I actually don't have a problem with people saying, okay, I created this like brand new thing that nobody has ever done, like a dance. Or that's my song. But we both talk about pop culture, or we both talk about Black history or Black women. In 2021, I'm sorry, it's not. But also, something I've really been trying to think about, especially with the conversations that originate on TikTok about how creators are exploited, is how do we grapple with the desire to be credited, the credit that we're due and owed? How do we desire with those fights? How do we grapple with the desire to be credited in those fights with the fundamentally mimetic nature of social media? Meaning the replication and reproduction that we see happen on social media, like that's baked into these platforms, you know, and most of us come to these platforms via replication and reproduction. And you know, the other thing is, and God, I want to say this, like, I want to be, ideas are not nearly as valuable as execution. And I've been trying to figure out a way to say this in like a way that is not assholey, but I also have to be really real, like in the content creator conversation, that ideas, particularly when we are talking about ideas in the form of like you weren't sitting down in front of the camera the way that I was sitting down in front of the camera in 2014. And by the way, yes, y'all go back to now I'm almost afraid to do this because now y'all gonna go back to the earliest videos on the For Harriet channel from July of 2014, where I was still wearing straight weave, and that was before I fixed my teeth, and I was just sitting in my old apartment, and it's all fuzzy, and I didn't know what I was doing, but that's fine. Like, you can go back and see the evolution. That's fine. I have evolved a lot since then because I recognized that I wanted to execute differently on a higher level. I want to improve and evolve and do better. And that means getting a higher quality camera. And that means learning how to edit. And that means learning how to make my own graphics. And that means figuring out sound design and where am I going to sit and how am I going to frame myself, and writing out a script and figuring out the branding. I mean, the evolution from 2014, Kimberly, who was just making bad videos that nobody was watching, to 2021 Kimberly, who I think I have enormous room to get better and improve. But still, the gulf is quite wide because I dedicate myself to executing better, and I dedicate myself to experimenting. And I looked at this person's page and I was like, interesting thoughts. I don't see a whole lot of execution or experimentation. I'm just gonna be honest with that. That's all I'm gonna say about that, right? I also recognize that being able to execute and experiment are also a function of having access to resources. And so I have no qualms talking about the business side of this, talking about the business side of content creation and how serious I am about the business side, because I recognize that so many of the frustrations of Black content creators who feel like they're not getting their due, they're not getting properly praised or cited, those are, I can't do what I want to do frustrations. Because the door is closed, right? The pathway to financial viability is so narrow that it's totally natural and normal for those frustrations to come up. But who are you directing that ire at? I say all the time, right, that social media is math. It's if I subtract this and add this and carry the one, what does that equal? And when I do this division and multiplication and move this around, am I closer to the outcome that I want? I love the math part. I love the math part. That's why, you know, something that when I was going back over the kind of content that I've been making over the past 7 years, I've tried so many different things, you know, long videos, short videos, live stream videos, format, these graphics, this stuff. I've tried so many different things because I recognize that this is math. I'm trying to solve an equation, right? And so there is the resources part that helps you do the math that is out of your control. Honestly, it's just out of a lot of Black content creators' control, because this is about structural inequity. But then there's also the, do you even have a desire to do the math part? Right? Like if you have the resources, right, and you have the time, and you don't invest yourself in the math part, you can't really be mad about whatever success you get, because a part of this job is doing the math. It's iterating. It's, does this title work better than that title? Does this thumbnail work better than that thumbnail? Does a 30-minute video work better than a 90-minute video? Oh, okay, 30-minute videos aren't working anymore, so I'm gonna go to the 90-minute video. Or, 15-minute videos aren't working the way that they used to. Let's go to a live stream video. Like, that's the math that I do all the time. That's fun for me. That's the fun part. But I recognize, right, that that's calculus. And everybody doesn't have to be down to do calculus. I get that some people want to do trig, right? Some people want to do geometry. Some people want to do algebra. But if you're doing algebra and everybody else is doing calculus, I'm going to have a real hard time having a real content creator conversation with you. Anyways, I just, hate that. And that's all I have to say about that. I don't think I'll be addressing it again. I feel like if you call people out in public, you should expect to get a public response. I'm not going to engage in any back and forth about it. Y'all can name names or whatever y'all want to do in the comments, but Kim is on calculus and the rest of the girls are doing pretty algebra. Now, that's not what I'm saying. I think that there are a lot of, let me just say this, I have not reached my fullest potential as a person who makes content. I want to do better and be better and try new things and improve. And I am inspired by the younger girls. I don't have all the answers. I am inspired by Khadija Mboy. That's how you pronounce her last name, right? And like T Noir. I just found another girl today. Her name is Shan Spear. Like, that's the thing about having been doing this for so long, is there's always gonna be new people who come up and are just kill it. But what the fuck do I look like going under fucking T Noir and being like, are you? Well, actually, T Noir has shouted me out. Actually, I do appreciate that. What the fuck I look like going to those girls and being like, did you know that 11 years ago, nobody was even talking about Black feminism? Like, it was a bad thing to be, like, what the fuck? That sounds fucking crazy. It's a great thing that people come and can jump on and iterate and try new things and take it to a new level and have huge platforms. That's a great thing. Anyways, does the notoriety ever get to your head? How do you stay grounded and focused on the work? I love to make, first of all, I'm not known. I don't have notoriety. Like, I'm not known. Occasionally, if I go into a crowd that has a lot of Black women in it, a couple of people will notice me. But I'm not known. I'm known on internet message boards and a certain like little silo of YouTube and Twitter. But like, I am not delusional. I am so brown right now. Kimberly is giving you roasted and toasted, okay? But, you know, I love to make content. I love to make content. Okay. Shakespeare is cold. Okay, pink is cute on you. Thanks. What's she talking about? Okay, let me shout out to the people. Brandis, thank you. Baking Luster, thank you. K Delphin Del Mundo, thank you. Catherine. Oh, thank you, Catherine. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. I do not think I'm an internet icon, but thanks. Okay, so anyways, oh gosh, sorry, cancel. If that's the end of that, we will wrap it up. Again, I have no desire for anybody to send hate to this person. I have no ill will or malice toward this person. I just think that if we're going to make these kinds of claims, look, here's what I can say, right? Black women are not always the kindest to other black women, right? I have been disabused of the notion that black women are inherently great and kind and loving to each other and we never fuck each other over and it's sisterhood all the time. That's not true. And I think that when black women fuck up and do foul shit, which I fucked up, I've done foul shit, that they can be dragged and called out, called in, whatever you want to do. I am much more careful about the way that I engage black women, particularly other black women content creators, because overwhelmingly I know that when I see other black women prospering, they're working hard and doing the math. It didn't just happen. And that's how, you know, when I was dragging the shade room the other day, I started by saying, I respect Angelica. I do. That, because even if I think the final product is not what I would want to have my name attached to, even if I think the final product of the shade room is not what I would want my legacy to be, I recognize that for that platform to be what it is, there was a lot of math involved. There's a lot of work. It doesn't just happen. And so I can appreciate that side of it for sure. Anyways, that's it. This will go to the newsletter subscribers and I'll go ahead and post it up on the personal YouTube. Bye.